This time I have Carly Venkatraz for SBP.
Thank you, Coach.
Mr. Speaker.
You have 2 minutes, sir. You make the same.
Howdy, my name is Karthik Venkatraz, but I'm also known as Vinny. I'm an international studies major from Brooklyn, New York City. Is anybody going to say New York City? And I just want to share with y'all my Aggie story. Being in New York City, I enlisted in the Army after 9/11. My parents asked me, "What are you doing?" I thought you want to go to college. You know, why don't you look at some colleges? I heard A&M is a great military school. So I said, okay, let's look at A&M. So when I went to my interview for A&M, there were 2 things they told me. They told me, 1, we're going to pay for college, and 2, we're going to find you a girlfriend. So I got sold on that second point. But really, A&M came into perspective after my first Silver Taps. Because then I looked at the values of what our university stands for. Loyalty, duty, honor, and integrity. Because they're not just Aggie values, they're also American values. That's what makes this institution so unique. Because we go to the best school in the world and the best nation in the world. Which makes this institution a truly unique institution. So what are we here at Student Senate to do? We're here to serve the student body. But most importantly, we're here to be servant leaders. Because at A&M, we're a unique institution in terms of we have a purpose statement. Our purpose statement here is to develop leaders of character. And to me, there's no higher measure of character than a servant leader. And that is something I really want to see in Executive Council next year. My experience is having been Vice President of the Memorial Student Center, having been on Executive Council here this year, as well as being on SPAD and being in the Corps, I bring a diversity of leadership to this position.
15 seconds.
What's really unique about our institution, and here's the facts as I've said before, we go to the best school in the world, in the best nation in the world. And it would just be an honor to be even considered.
Please finish your sentence.
God bless you. Give them both, Vinny, for Student Body President on April 1st and 2nd. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Senator Harris, 2 minutes that you may consume, sir.
Well, very much, Mr. Speaker. All right. So I know some people weren't here last meeting, but for the majority of us who were, we passed a lot of very important bills. But one that wasn't quite as contentious as some of the others, that was actually almost unanimously passed 43-4 or something like that, was a constitutional change to basically bring some sense and some organization to the budgetary process. It was something that had been considered for a long time. It's been in the works for basically the whole year, but it's been in the Rules and Regulations Committee for an entire month, not just the 2 weeks that it normally is. It's something that we talked about and deliberated as a Senate. It's something that was unanimously voted out of the Rules and Regulations Committee. And throughout that whole process, Chair Carlson, doing his due diligence, spoke with Mark Golden with the executive branch over and over again about the implications of the bill, the details of the bill. We had open lines of communication. We heard nothing but good things from Mark Gold's office. And then, apparently Mark's been really busy and claims he didn't have time to read the bill, so he vetoed it because he didn't like one of the dates in it. And frankly, I've been in student government for most of my time here at A&M, and I've seen a lot of pretty ridiculous things, and I think this is one of the best years for student government we've ever had. So, I mean, anything you might be frustrated with this year, it was worse in the past. But this is probably the worst abuse of executive power I've ever witnessed in my time in student government. The veto a bill because you had 2 months or more to talk about it, to read it, to assess it, but you just didn't. And then you see a date that you don't like, which I think, I'm not going to debate the merits of whether the dates were right or wrong, but basically I think it was well debated and it was a good time. But regardless, to just veto a bill for that reason and to make us have to now go through the process of veto override for that reason is absolutely ridiculous. So we need to override this veto and we need to hold Mark Gold accountable for doing this. Thanks and Diego.
Diego.
At this time I have Amanda Groskenbauer, DIC. 2 minutes, ma'am. You make this.
Howdy, my name is Amanda Groskenbauer. I'm the chair of the Environmental Issues Committee. No need to call executive session. I'm here to talk about the referendum that will be on the spring ballot this year. A little background on EIC. We are a committee of student government, and we work on three main areas: education, service, and sound legislation on and off campus. And so what our referendum is doing is basically, well, let me go into the long story of it. In my 4 years of leadership in EIC, I have seen A&M rise to the leader in environmental and sustainable services in Texas. In just 2 short years, we've fallen behind every school in the state, every community college, public, private school, even Texas Tech. And that's just not acceptable at a university of this, such high standards. And so what the referendum is going to do is it is going to be paired with a report. This report details what every campus has done, their progression from nothing to the environmental services that they have now, which completely are 10 steps ahead of what A&M has, and they've done it in less than 2 years. And so this report will have every school in Texas in it detailed. It will have every school in Vision 2020, as every school that we compare ourselves to academically is ahead of us sustainably as well, showing that not only are the top universities, is the requirement that they be high in academic standards, but also in their green standards. So the referendum is to gather student input, to add to this report to show that students see these services as necessary for campus, and to ask the university to invest more, not just money, but priority attention to these environmentally sustainable services.
Thank you, ma'am.